He says, it's nice to see Astro Bot sold out in a lot of countries. I'm very curious how that's going to end up doing, because I did see that it sold out on Amazon in Japan, but I also saw that in the UK, at least the physical wasn't doing all that well. They said it sold a third less than Ratchet and Clank, which, I mean, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart's one of my favorite platformers of all time, one of the best PS5 games ever. And back then, a lot of people said, well, that's just because the hardware was brand new when it came out. It's like, okay, all right, sure. But this did a third less, and that's troubling. But not, I mean, I guess I had hoped what would happen with this game, which I enjoy very, very much. I don't think it's a game of the year game, but I think it's fucking delightful. I had hoped what would happen with Astro Bot would be a kind of generational sharing, where now you have enough people in their 30s and 40s with kids. And unlike when Puppeteer came out, I had hoped that there would be enough adults with kids now that would say, hey, I'll buy this game for the family. Let's share it together. Let me tell you about these cool characters you may not know about. And I see that happening a little bit, but how weird if those sales in the UK boxed are representative. And they may not be. We just don't have any data. So, in light of nothing but what you've got, you judge what you've got. So on one hand, you hear, oh, it's selling out in Japan, but a lot of things sell out in Japan. They don't, have a lot of copies ready. There was a game that came out recently that flopped that sold out in Japan the first week. But Jonas says, I wouldn't be surprised if Astro Bot gets a decent boost around the holidays. Seems like a game that a lot of people won't know about. And word of mouth will carry it. I think you're absolutely right, or at least I think that's got to be what Sony's hoping for. Most people didn't buy a PSVR, and the Astro Bot on there was great. I don't even know if most people, when they picked up their PlayStation 5s, even knew about Astro Bot's Playroom. But for most people, it's a new franchise, and I haven't seen any marketing yet. If they're going to do marketing, like a big push, it's probably going to be around the holidays. So maybe I hope you're right, Jonas, and I think logic suggests that you may very well be right, that this is going to be something that really builds up a head of steam over the holidays and then gets a lot of love, and hopefully when the sequel comes out, it'll bust through the roof and this will still be profitable. Because if not, then the question really becomes, what do you end up doing if you're Sony? Do you say, oh, people just don't want family games? Probably you do that. But do you also go, they don't want AA games, right? And they don't want things that don't look like cinematic experiences. Because even if this game Astro Bot were to fail, I would love to see them say, okay, but let's take the same insanely talented team and let's have them make something more in line with our audience, right? Whether it's it still could be a platformer, but it's like a mercenary platformer, like a Contra, 3D Contra or whatever, that, bloodier, M-rated, that really kind of feels more in line with the PlayStation audience. I hope that if Astro Bot doesn't deliver, I do hope that they'll take one more swing, but they'll adjust. They'll say, okay, we got it almost right. We just got to change our demographic that we're aiming for. But then at that point, the question is, why can't Sony sell to families? I understand historically it's been more of kind of the teen guy box. Like when I was at Sony, that's how they were marketing it. But it's been around for so long that the idea that, kids aren't playing a lot of console games anymore except Switch. They're playing their PCs and tablets and phones, so it may not be possible, but it would seem terrible that if a game like this can only sell on the Nintendo platform, that's maybe it'll do better on PC. I don't know, but it's really good. I recommend it highly. It's quite good. Now, is it Game of the Year? I don't think so. I think it's feel-good Game of the Year. If you're a PlayStation fan, if you came up with PlayStation in any way, shape, or form, it makes you feel great to see all your old friends again, basically. But as a moment-to-moment piece of gameplay, it is fun, delightful, great level design. I think Game of the Year, best platform ever, top 5 platforms ever. I don't think so, but it's excellent. K-Nub says it's weird. The game's almost too simplistic in the movement mechanics, but I'm equally blown away by the quality and enjoying every second. Yeah. Have you gotten to the part with the kind of giant? It looks pretty much, I think Warner Bros. Is going to sue somebody. It looks like Iron Giant, right? The white Iron Giant. That sounds racist. You know what I'm saying? If you've seen it, you know what I'm saying. That's insane to me. That whole section just feels like I've never seen a video game. I mean, Ratchet did some stuff like that, but it was crazy cool, crazy impressive. Jonathan says, I like platformers and I want to play Astro Bot, but I haven't picked it up because I'm having too much fun playing Space Marine 2. Yeah, maybe it was I mean, they didn't have a lot to release this Christmas. Maybe putting it out at Christmas was actually, I don't know, maybe it'll be a great idea, especially if they drop the price and bundle it. Because I do agree with when somebody said it's going to be a holiday hit. I think that's right. The best thing they can do is get this in people's hands. There really needs to be a demo or something for this fucking thing. I don't know why there's not.